everyone, my name is Natasha and I work with the Saskatoon Public Library. I'm joining you for Grown Up Storytime, and I'm joining you from my home, which is of course located on Treaty 6 territory in the homeland of the Métis. Today for Grown Up Storytime, I'm going to try to finish the short story The Last Wish, which is out of this book called The Last Wish also, and this is written by Andrzej Sapkowski, and we'll be picking it up on part 11, which if you happen to have the same copy, starts on page 338. And thus far, what's happened is Gerald and Dandelion found a djinn, and then they ran into the sorceress Yennefer, and she's now kind of tricked them and is trying to capture the djinn, which is going very poorly for her. And Gerald's come and tried to stop her from fighting it. And yeah, we'll pick it up from there today. The djinn gave a tug at the fetters, traced a circle, tightened the lines holding it, and swept the little tower off of Beaubaron's house. "What a roar he's got!" Dandelion frowned, instinctively clasping at his throat. "What a terrible roar! It looks as if he's bloody furious." "That's because he is," said Crept. Sheridan glanced at him. "What?" "He's furious," repeated Crept. "And I'm not surprised. I'd be furious too if I had to fulfill to the letter the first wish accidentally expressed by the Witcher." "How's that?" shouted Dandelion. "Gerald? Wish?" "He's the one who held the seal which imprisoned the djinn. The djinn's fulfilling his wishes. That's why the witch can't master it. But the Witcher mustn't tell her. Even if he's caught on to it by now, he shouldn't tell her." "Damn it," muttered Sheridan. "I'm beginning to understand. The water in the dungeon, he burst." "That was the Witcher's second wish. He's still got one left, the last one. But God's help us, he shouldn't reveal that to Yennefer." She stood motionless, leaning over him, paying no attention to the djinn struggling at its bonds above the tavern roof. The building shook. Lime and splinters poured from the ceiling. Furniture crept along the floor, shuddering spasmodically. "So that's how it is," she hissed. "Congratulations, you've deceived me. Not Dandelion, but you. That's why the djinn's fighting so hard. But I haven't lost yet, Gerald. You underestimate me, and you underestimate my power. I've still got the djinn, and you in my hand. You've still got one last wish, haven't you? So make it. You'll free the djinn, and then I'll bottle it." "You haven't got enough strength left, Yennefer." "You underestimate my strength. The wish, Gerald." "No, Yennefer, I can't. The djinn might fulfill it, but it won't spare you. It'll kill you. When it's free, it'll take its revenge on you. You won't manage to catch it, and you won't manage to defend yourself against it. You're weakened. You can barely stand. You'll die, Yennefer." "That's my risk," she shouted, enraged. "What's it to you, what happens to me? Think rather what the djinn can give you. You've still got one wish. You can ask what you like. Make use of it. Use it, Witcher. You can have anything, anything." "Are they both going to die?" wailed Dandelion. "How come, Crept? Why? After all, the Witcher, why by all perfidious and unexpected plagues isn't he escaping? Why? What's keeping him? Why doesn't he leave that bloody witch to her fate and run away? It's senseless." "Absolutely senseless," repeated Sheridan bitterly. "Absolutely." "It's suicide and plain idiocy." "It's his job after all," interrupted Neville. "The Witcher's saving my town. May the gods be my witness. If he defeats the witch and chases the demon away, I'll reward him handsomely." Dandelion snatched the hat decorated with a heron's feather from his head, spat into it, threw it in the mud, and trampled on it, spitting out words in various languages as he did. "But he groaned suddenly, "still got one wish in reserve. He could save both her and himself. Mr. Crept!" "It's not that simple," the priest pondered. "But if he expresses the right wish, if he somehow tied his fate to the fate... No, I don't think it would occur to him, and it's probably better that it doesn't." "The wish, Gerald, hurry up. What do you desire? Immortality, riches, fame, power? Might, privileges? Hurry, we haven't any time." He was silent. "Humanity," she said suddenly, smiling nastily. "I've guessed, haven't I? That's what you want. That's what you dream of. Of release, of the freedom to be who you want, not who you have to be. The djinn will fulfill that wish, Gerald. Just say it." He stayed silent. She stood over him in the flickering radiance of the wizard's sphere, in the glow of magic, amidst the flashes of rays restraining the djinn. Streaming hair and eyes, blazing violet, erect, slender, dark, terrible, and beautiful. All of a sudden she leaned over and looked him in the eyes. He caught the scent of lilac and gooseberries. "You're not saying anything," she hissed. "So what is it you desire, Witcher? What is your most hidden dream? Is it that you don't know or you can't decide? Look for it within yourself. Look deeply and carefully, because I swear by the Force, you won't get another chance like this." But he suddenly knew the truth. He knew it. He knew what she used to be. What she remembered, what she couldn't forget, what she lived with, who she really was before she had become a sorceress. Her cold, penetrating, angry, and wise eyes were those of a hunchback. He was horrified. No, not of the truth. He was horrified that she would read his thoughts, find out what he had guessed, that she would never forgive him for it. He deadened that thought within himself, killed it, threw it from his memory forever, without trace, feeling as he did so enormous relief, feeling that the ceiling cracked open, the djinn entangled in the net of now fading rays, tumbled right on top of them, roaring, and in that roar were triumph and murder, lust. Yennefer leapt to meet him. Light beamed from her hands, very feeble light. The djinn opened his mouth and stretched his paws toward her. The Witcher suddenly understood what it was he wanted, and he made his wish. The house exploded. Bricks, beams, and planks flew up in a cloud of smoke and sparks. The djinn spurted from the dust storm as huge as a barn, roaring and choking with triumphant laughter. The air genie, free now, not tied to anyone's will, traced 3 circles about the town, tore the spire from the town hall, and soared into the sky and vanished. "It's escaped! It's escaped!" called Crab. "The Witcher had his way! The genie has flown away! It won't be a threat to anyone anymore!" "Ah," said Eredil, with genuine rapture, "what a wonderful ruin!" Damn it, hollered Dandelion, huddled behind the wall. "It's shattered the entire house! Nobody could survive that! Nobody, I tell you!" "The Witcher, Geralt of Rivia, has sacrificed himself for the town," Mayor Neville said ceremoniously. "We won't forget him. We'll revere him. We'll think of a statue." Dandelion shook a piece of wicker matting bound with clay from his shoulder, brushed his jerkin free of lumps of rain-dampened plaster, looked at the mayor, and in a few well-chosen words expressed his opinion about sacrifice, reverence, memory, and all the statues in the world. Gerald looked around. Water was slowly dripping from the hole in the ceiling. There were heaps of rubble and stacks of timber all around. By a strange coincidence, the place where they lay was completely clear. Not one plank or one brick had fallen on them. It was as if they were being protected by an invisible shield. Yennefer, slightly flushed, knelt by him, resting her hands on her knees. "Witcher," she cleared her throat, "are you dead?" "No." Gerald wiped the dust from his face and hissed. Slowly, Yennefer touched his wrist and delicately ran her fingers along his palm. "I burnt you." "It's nothing, a few blisters. I'm sorry. You know the djinns escaped for good. Do you regret it?" "Not much." "Good, help me up, please." "Wait," she whispered. "That wish of yours. I heard what you wished for. I was astounded, simply astounded. I'd have expected anything but to... What made you do it, Gerald? Why? Why me?" "Don't you know?" She leaned over him, touched him. He felt her hair smelling of lilac and gooseberries brush his face, and he suddenly knew that he'd never forget that scent, that soft touch, knew that he'd never be able to compare it to any other scent or touch. Yennefer kissed him, and he understood that he never desired any lips other than hers, so soft and moist, sweet with lipstick. He knew that from that moment only she would exist, her neck, shoulders, and breast freed from her black dress, her delicate, cool skin, which couldn't be compared to any other he had ever touched. He gazed into her violet eyes, the most beautiful eyes in the world, eyes which he feared would become everything he knew. "Your wish," she whispered, her lips very near his ear. "I don't know whether such a wish can ever be fulfilled. I don't know whether there's such a force in nature that could fulfill such a wish. But if there is, then you've condemned yourself to me." He interrupted her with a kiss, an embrace, a touch, caresses, and then with everything, his whole being, his every thought, his only thought, everything, everything, everything. They broke the silence with sighs and the rustle of clothing strewn on the floor. They broke the silence very gently, lazily, and they were considerate and very thorough. They were caring and tender, and although neither quite knew what caring and tenderness were, they succeeded because they very much wanted to, and they were in no hurry whatsoever. The whole world had ceased to exist for a brief moment, but to them it seemed like a whole eternity. And then the world started to exist again, but it existed very differently. Gerald? What now? I don't know. Nor do I, because you see, I don't know whether it was worth condemning yourself to me. I don't know how... Wait, what are you doing? I wanted to tell you. Yennefer? Yen? Yen, she repeated, giving in to him completely. Nobody's ever called me that. Say it again. Yen. Gerald. It had stopped raining. A rainbow peered over Rind and cut the sky with a broken-colored arc. It looked as if it grew straight from the tavern's ruined roof. By all the gods, murmured Dandelion. What silence. They're dead, I tell you. Either they've killed each other or my gins finished them off. We should go and see, said Radomir, wiping his brow with his crumpled hat. They might be wounded. Should I call a doctor? An undertaker, more like it, said Crep. I know that witch, and that witcher's got the devil in his eyes, too. There's no two ways about it. We've got to start digging 2 pits in the cemetery. I'd advise sticking an aspen stake into that Yennefer before burying her. What silence, repeated Dandelion. Beams were flying all over the place a moment ago, and now it's as quiet as a grave. They approached the tavern ruins very cautiously and slowly. Let the carpenter get the coffins ready, said Crep. Tell the carpenter... Quiet, interrupted Erdal. I heard something. What was it, Sheridan? The elf brushed the hair off his pointed ear and tilted his head. I'm not sure. Let's get closer. Yennefer's alive, said Dandelion suddenly, straining his musical ear. I hear her moan. There, she moaned again. Uh-huh, confirmed Erdal. I heard it too. She moaned. She must really be suffering. Shrindian, where are you going? Careful! The elf backed away from the shattered window, through which he had carefully peeped. Let's get out of here, he said quietly. Let's not disturb them. They're both alive? Sheridan? What are they doing? Let's get out of here, repeated the elf. Let's leave them alone for a bit. Let them stay there, Yennefer, Geralt, and his last wish. Let's wait in a tavern. They'll join us before long, both of them. What are they doing? Dandelion was curious. Tell me, damn it. The elf smiled very, very sadly. I don't like grand words, he said, and it's impossible to give it a name without using grand words. And that's the end of The Last Wish. That's a pretty foundational story that kind of underpins the rest of the series following The Witcher. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and if you did, as I've said, there's a lot of books to read. If you're looking for a place to start, you can start with the short stories, or you could, especially having just heard this short story, jump straight into the first full-length novel, which is this one, which is The Blood of Elves. I believe there's a few digital copies available through our website, so it should be fairly easy to find, and this one definitely would be a good place to start if you're not wanting to do the short stories. Thank you for joining me. Bye.